So I know some people are going to think that I'm reaching on this.
Okay, that is a reach.
I'm just looking for, I'm pulling things out of the sky to create content around. But if you're one of 69% of Americans that deal with this issue, then you would agree that this is not a reach.
I'd have to agree with you.
And this really is something that's a big deal for a lot of people that causes issues like gas, bloating, diarrhea, to some more severe issues. So if you're eating this one food, if you're consuming this one supplement, and you're noticing that you're having a hard time losing weight or you're actually gaining weight, then you would definitely benefit from some of these strategies that I'm going to share with you today on what to do about it. Now, I myself didn't grow up with this issue. I was completely fine with eating this food or these foods when I was younger, but I noticed that I've gotten into my 40s.
What a clever old man.
My body's ability to process and digest this food has become less and less and less over the years, and you might be just like this, where you may have had no issues with this food when you were younger, but now you've gotten a little older and now you're noticing issues with this food. So if you're one of the 69% of Americans that deals with this, definitely stick around.
Stick around
To the entire video, because I'm going to share with you what the issue is, but I'm also going to share with you some things that you can do to correct it so you could either start losing weight again or just stop gaining weight. So the food that I'm talking about is dairy and whey. So whey is a protein found in milk or milk products. And they say that we as humans are one of the only species that drinks the milks of other animals, which I found was pretty, I don't want to say, it was interesting that we as humans are one of the only species, probably the only species that actually drinks the milks of other animals. And what I think is that we all have some type of at least sensitivity to it. Again, that you may not notice when you're younger because our bodies are just more resilient. We're able to process this food and break it down. And again, I didn't have any issues when I was younger, but now in my 40s, I'm noticing that I have more of an issue with processing milk and milk products. So like for instance, once a week, maybe twice a week, I'll have a bagel with cheese. And if I have it once a week, I'm okay. I can tolerate once a week. Maybe even sometimes twice a week, because the days that I have them normally on Wednesday and Sunday is spread out, so it's not that big of a deal. But if I do more than that, I'll start noticing some of those issues. Like I said, diarrhea, bloating, constipation, so just stomach discomfort. I always feel like I'm like 9 months pregnant and I'm just bloated.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
So very uncomfortable feeling. And again, if you're one of the 69% of Americans deal with this issue. So if you're one of us or one of those Americans that deal with it, then I'm going to give you some strategies on what you can do about it. And this is in no way, shape, or form a knock on dairy or whey, because I actually think that dairy and whey are really good sources of protein, but they are good if you don't have any issues dealing with them, digesting them and processing them. Because if you're not properly processing and digesting the food, you're really not getting the nutrients from the food anyway. So the benefits of the food you're not getting if you have an issue digesting and processing it. So here's the specific problem with these types of foods. Again, it's not necessarily the food that's the problem, but it's the fact that your body does not have the ability to properly digest and process these foods. And when you can't properly digest and process foods, your body builds up inflammation.
It's really more about like inflammation
To those foods, and that inflammation is what's actually causing the either weight gain or causing the hard time losing weight or all the other issues like bloating, gas, and diarrhea. Matter of fact, this is the same exact advice I gave to my client Susan here, that has lost 13 pounds over the last 8 weeks just by cutting out all dairy and all whey protein products. So what I did was I completely stopped consuming whey protein shakes and whey protein bars, and immediately when I stopped doing that, I noticed a diminishment of my issues. And what I did was I went to a vegan, vegetarian, vegetable style protein.
Did they tell you I'm vegan?
Which isn't the best quality source of protein. However, I also noticed no more issues of bloating, gas, or diarrhea. So if you're having this issue with whey protein, what I would recommend is you maybe try, and if you're taking in a concentrate, I might say try an isolate first. That might help. But if you still go to a whey isolate and it does not help, I would say completely get away from whey protein supplements, the bars, the shakes. Now, I do understand that there are fewer options on the market for vegan, vegetarian, non-dairy, non-whey protein supplements. However, there are a few that are pretty good. I can't really give you a recommendation because it depends on your taste. And there's a few that I've tried over the years, and I find that they all work pretty good for me. I don't have any more issues with the bloating, the gas, or diarrhea. So that's one thing I would recommend, is just switching from a whey-based protein to go from whey concentrate to whey isolate. And there's difference. I'm not going to go over the differences of those two proteins in this video, but if you want me to go over the difference in those proteins, just comment below and I'll consider making that video. But what I would say is go from concentrate to isolate, and if isolate still is an issue, go from the whey protein isolate, go over to a vegan protein, and most likely you'll notice that your symptoms will go away. Now, another thing I will recommend is decreasing the amount of it that you eat, because you may not be lactose intolerant.
I can't have pizza, I'm lactose intolerant.
But you may just have a sensitivity to it. And just by decreasing it, that sensitivity to that protein might diminish over time, and you may notice that you don't have the same issues with the protein just by decreasing the amount of it that you're taking in. So give those two things a try. Comment below, let me know if those two things help.